How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Now, typically, we wait to do the post-game show when the game is actually over. And technically, this game is not over, but for all intents and purposes, this game is over. If the Yankees wanted to show Brian Cashman and upper management, who they really are headed into the trade deadline, I would say mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. 7-0 Orioles in the second inning. Orioles got 6 runs on the board before Luis Severino even recorded an out. Now, will the Yankees come back and win this game and make me look stupid? Stranger things have happened. And after 4 years of doing a live show every single night, I know it's just part of the job to look stupid sometimes. But tonight, things are not off to a good start. And the fact that they just loaded the bases and left them loaded does not help their cause. In the midst of his ass-kicking, Buster Olney suggested that opposing teams are interested in Luis Severino. And to that I say take him. Just take him. We don't even need anything back at this point. Just take somebody else with you. Take a DJ, take some of Stanton, take whatever you can take. The Yankees need to, in essence, create a global flood throughout the organization. They need to wipe out everything and start fresh. We are Zeus, and it's time to throw some lightning bolts. We are less than 48 hours from the trade deadline as Severino back out there for the second inning, hoping it goes a little bit better than the first inning. We're 48 hours from the trade deadline, and the Yankees appear to be standing pat. Am I the only one who misses the midnight deadline, by the way? I used to love staying up to watch Baseball Tonight at 1 in the morning as Severino gets a routine ground ball to first base. The out is made. Hey, quit it, cat. Got cats being mischievous up here. The main rumor floating around today is that Gleyber Torres is in high demand and that the Marlins are the number one team that's been looking at him. And Cashman apparently is asking for 2 25-year-old pitchers. Really good strikeout pitchers. And I think that's an overpay. We should not be negotiating from a position of strength right now. The Yankees need to reset this roster, tear it down, and start over. Nelson Vega says clean house, and I agree 100%. NYY News numero uno says midnight deadline would be so awesome right now. Well, it would be tomorrow at midnight. Instead, I guess they don't want people staying up all night and then going to work all tired. Who cares? David Ellis says, time to emulate the Cardinals, literally, as this travesty of the game continues. This is awful. I'm seeing a bunch of horrible body language. I'm seeing guys who don't want to be there. I'm sure before it's all over, we'll have a few more base running mistakes, leave the bases loaded a couple more times. Jay Mata says, just imagine what we would be if we had Harper, Machado, Seager, Freeman, or Olsen. We could have used a couple of really good left-handed bats. And the fact that Brian Cashman knows this stadium is built for left-handed hitters and continues to stack it with righties and with has-been lefties who can't do anything. You expected Rougned Odor to come in and save the day? Really? Going back to a couple of years ago when you traded for Joey Gallo, a lefty, but a lefty who doesn't make contact. And now there's not much available. The Yankees passed on those guys. They could have had Olsen. They could have had Freeman. They could have had Harper. They could have had Seager. They passed on all of them. And now they can't find a decent left-handed bat. Funny how that works out. Michael Savakul says this organization is like the Titanic, slowly sinking while they say everything is fine. Now, you might say, who could the Yankees sell should they decide to trade players? I can think of a few players off the top of my head. Now, it sounded like there was interest in Severino from Buster Olney. I don't know why. I mean, I guess he still throws hard. But for all intents and purposes, he is done as a pitcher. He's awful. They either know what's coming or he's lost whatever made him special. A lot of guys throw hard and still get hit. He can still throw hard and get hit, but he throws it right down the middle. You know, Nathan Eovaldi used to have that problem. Threw 101 miles an hour, threw it right down the middle, got hit all the time. Severino is not a pitcher right now. He's batting practice. But if somebody wants to trade for him, hey, well, you know, we're not going to re-sign him. We could probably move IKF. He's going to be a free agent soon. We could probably move Harrison Bader. I thought Yankee Source on Twitter put it really nice. I've seen enough out of Bader, he said. Right-handed hitter, doesn't hit righties that well. One excellent skill, defense. And other than that, very injury-prone and somewhat overrated. William says he loves the Top Gun tee. I just picked this up today. Love Top Gun. Thanks for noticing. Don't you love it when you buy a new shirt and somebody's like, hey, that's a nice shirt? I remember one time I took my wife shopping, and we went to the movies that night, and the lady behind the counter said, hey, that's a great shirt. And I felt great because I picked it out for her. CWE says, turned the TV off. I don't blame you. Luis Tejada with the dono. Appreciate that, my friend. James Demers wants to fire the pitching coach. We got one of the best pitching coaches in the league. The metrics under Matt Blake have been terrific as Bowers hits this one to deep center field and gone. Home run into the Orioles bullpen. Eighth home run of the year for Bowers. Nice piece of hitting. Good opposite field power. Solo shot. The Yankees always hit solo home runs, it seems. Looked like a hanging slider right out over the middle of the plate, and he barreled it up and almost hit the Budweiser sign out there just to the left as Glaber takes one outside. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to get super excited over one home run. We are going to update the score, though, here. I just wanted to kind of come on and tell you guys how I was feeling down 7-0. I can't guarantee that I'll be back after the game. If the Yankees come back and win, we'll do a post game. But if they get shellacked, we're just gonna call it a night because, you know, I've said what I feel. This team is it's trash. It's trash right now. Husky says some hope. Don't do that. Don't give me hope. Seriously, though, says, I'm so glad I don't have ESPN. Seriously, though. Yankees should really just kind of unload anything that they can. Really. I mean, we've talked about Bowers. We've talked about Severino. I think you could get something for Glaber Torres. Glaber Torres up at the plate right now with a 2-2 count. And he crushed it. Drilled to left field. But, gone into the first row. There's some confusion out there. He knows it's gone. So second home run of the inning for the Yankees. You know, maybe this rant is just the rallying cry we needed to get it going. Maybe they will come back. That's definitely a home run. That should be number, 16? No, that hit the top of the wall. It looked like a fan touched it. We'll see how they score it. He's at second base. I don't know. It looked like it went in the first row to me. Really? They're not gonna challenge that? It definitely hit a fan. Definitely hit a fan. They're going to call it a double. Okay, now they're replaying it. So it definitely hit the top of the wall, but it hit a fan before it hit the top of the wall. Be interesting to see what they call this. Close-up of the replay now. It's coming down, and it definitely got the kid's hand on the way down, but then it hit the top of the wall. They're going to rule that a double. They're going to rule that a double. Eric Lavoie says, I watched Ruben Sierra score from first on a double in a Yankee Classic game at the age of 39. How is Stanton so unathletic at his age and build? I don't know, man. It's crazy how he's fallen apart. His legs are just shot. Well, they're calling it a double. To me, it looked like it hit his hand before it hit the ball, and he was above the wall, but they might have said that he was leaning out over the wall. So Stanton steps in. Got a runner on second. Takes a slider outside. Stanton doesn't get out of the box very often. Now, at Yankee Stadium, that ball's probably caught. But at the old Baltimore, or I guess the same ballpark, but with the old dimensions, that's about 10 rows deep. So that's one of the things that makes baseball interesting is every stadium is different. Davey says he doesn't think anyone is catching the Texas Rangers. Orioles are pretty good. I think the Orioles are my pick right now to win the American League and win the World Series. I still think that the youth is going to come out on top. Although, if Texas goes to the World Series, at least Jordan Montgomery will get a shot. Two to Stanton. Takes it low. The Orioles just have a ton of really, really good young talent. It is honestly fun to watch. So this mid-game, post-game is brought to you by Game Time, the fastest-growing ticket app in the world. As Stanton swings through a 94-mile-an-hour fastball and looks poor doing it. Download the Game Time app to your phone or other smart device, or visit gametime.co and get last-minute tickets to all your favorite types of events. Baseball, other sports, concerts, theater, comedy, you name it. You can find it on Game Time. Use the code NYY Recaps for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time. Lowest price on last-minute tickets, guaranteed. So, this is the first time I've ever done a mid-game kind of rant. I just couldn't take it, man. 7-0 in the first inning. Severino throwing batting practice. Bunch of downtrodden-looking Yankees. Do not have Aaron Judge in the lineup tonight. It's an ESPN game, so highlights are going to be terribly difficult to procure. So they hold out the highlights, the live highlights, until after the game, so it makes it a real pain in the ass. And my highlight guy, Frankie, is on vacation in Alaska. Thanks a lot, Frankie. Doug Ennis says DFA Stanton makes too much money. I mean, he's got like $100 million left on his contract. I can't see him doing it. Husky says, I love Volpe. I honestly think Volpe is a very good player. I think he's going to continue to be better and better as time goes on. I project him as kind of a Dustin Pedroia type. I think he's going to end up at second base. William says, how many pieces do you think we are away from winning another World Series? Quite a few. I think we got some decent pitching, Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon. But the problem is they just can't hit. And they've got bad base running, bad fundamentals, bad organizational strategy, going for home runs all the time. They're just weak and old. They look tired. They look worn out. Here's IKF. Swings at a slider a foot and a half outside, bailing out towards left field. Typical Yankee swing, trying to pull an outside slider. Looking like trash doing it. 2 outs in the top of the third. IKF takes another strike. The Yankees don't have a lot of pieces they could move, but, they could deal some of their top prospects, like that are maybe not top 5, top 10 prospects, along with some contracts to unload some guys. Obviously not ideal as IKF strikes out on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Dean Kramer. You know, it's I wouldn't count on it, but, you know, if they wanted to move somebody like a Roderick Arias, who was a top international draft pick, or not draft pick, prospect that they signed, I'm sure teams would be interested and might be willing to take on a little bit of money from someone. X-Wing class says they need to deal Torres and Bader. I got to say, I agree.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I just don't see the team getting better that quickly without selling. There's not a lot of free agents this year. The Yankees have the best free agents out there. Severino or Ohtani. They're not going to get Ohtani. They got Severino and they got Bader. You know, those are two guys that are going to sign elsewhere. Now, you might get draft picks for them, which is something I'm sure Cashman would like, but it's not that first-round draft pick anymore. It's like a supplemental kind of pick. Eric Lavoie says, 2017 Baby Bonners, 2023 Senior Strugglers. Eric says an early start, huh? We're just having a little mid-game rant. There's no point in waiting for this one to play out because the Yankees are not hitting worth a shit, and they're not pitching. It's just more typical awful Yankee baseball. Wampbag Doodle says, anyone watching this team needs therapy. Sorry. Need therapy, I guess. Bernie says, we can have all the prospects. Doesn't matter. They never bring them up. I mean, they bring them up. They brought up Volpe this year. They brought up Peraza. Neither one of them's hit. It's the organizational philosophy. However they're training people in the minor leagues, however they're teaching hitting, and I don't think Sean Casey's going to fix this because it comes from above Sean Casey. Whatever strategy they think is critical to hitting a baseball is wrong and ineffective. And you've got some untradeable contracts. You can't move Stanton. You can't move LeMahieu unless you package ridiculous prospects with them. And the Yankees need their prospects. So Brian Cashman has totally put this organization in a pretzel. They're awful. Douglas says, trade Stanton to the Savannah Bananas. I like it. I like it. Adam Frazier stepping in, hit a 3-run home run. That was really the big blow of the first inning. He's a good hitter. Only hitting about 242, but he's got a good swing. A couple of years ago, he had a really good year. And raked. What you see other teams do that the Yankees don't even do is hit line drives foul. The Yankees hit pop-ups or just miss entirely. You watch enough games, you realize that there's so many things wrong. They just miss the baseball or pop it up constantly. When they put it in play, a lot of times it's a ground ball somewhere. CWE says, Cashman, team destroyer. Aside from paying for that championship in 2009, what else has Cashman done worth a damn? X-Wing says, to think this clown organization could have had Harper and Machado and then Stanton. Yeah, if you just waited a year instead of going out and getting Stanton, you already had a big, tall right-handed hitter with 50-plus home runs the previous season. You didn't need Stanton. I was excited because, yeah, everybody thinks, well, maybe you can get a couple of more great years out of Stanton. What's that going to do for Judge? Yada, yada, yada. But the fact that this team duplicated an asset they already had and passed on two that they could have really used going forward in Harper and Machado. It's insulting. It's insulting. Joe Bagg says, too focused on launch angles. And Timothy Gooden says, sell it all, even the building. Get one with a roof on it. Williams says Stanton is washed. I'm sorry. There's a lot of guys washed on this team as Severino throws some more gas on the fire. Line drive to right field from Urias, however you want to pronounce it. Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. So, guys, look, I've said my piece. This game is pretty much over. I'm not going to stick around for the postgame unless the Yankees win. But feel free to unleash your fury in the comments. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. We got a trade deadline podcast coming up on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., half hour after the deadline, half hour before the game. And we got a lot of games in a row, baby. A lot of games in a row. I might see you after the game. I might not. See if the Yankees have a great comeback. Until then.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.